Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive tailored just for you.
That's right. Our goal today is really to unpack these recent shifts in trade policy and also some, well, pretty urgent warnings about online finance scams.
Yeah, it's interesting how it jumps from, big international trade stuff right down to scams that could affect you personally.
Definitely. And there are some surprising details in there, like a really sudden tariff hike, some very specific trade friction points, think beef age, and yeah, a new angle on online investment fraud.
Think of this as your quick briefing on some important topics, stuff you probably want to know about.
Exactly. Let's just jump right in. First up, that big trade move. President Trump doubling tariffs on imported steel and aluminum.
Doubling. Wow. So from 25% up to 50%, that's quite a jump. What's the reason?
Well, the stated rationale is about strengthening the U.S. steel industry, closing loopholes, as he put it, and it's immediate kicking in June 4th.
Okay, but there might be another layer to this, something about a court decision.
Right. This is pretty interesting. Some analysis links this sudden hike to a recent U.S. Court of International Trade ruling.
How so? What's the connection?
Apparently, that court decision questioned using emergency powers, specifically the IEPA, that's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, as the legal basis for some earlier tariffs.
Ah, I see. So the thinking is this quick tariff hike could be a way to react to that legal challenge, maybe shore things up from a different angle.
That seems to be the implication. Yeah. Less about the steel itself, perhaps, and more a response to legal scrutiny of the authority used for tariffs.
That definitely puts a different perspective on it. And the sources note this hits trading partners hard, right?
Yeah.
Especially South Korea.
Yes, South Korea relies heavily on steel exports to the U.S. And speaking of South Korea, the material also covers other ongoing trade talks.
Beyond the tariffs, what else is causing friction?
It seems a lot of focus is on non-tariff barriers. Regulations, standards, that kind of thing.
Like what specifically?
One really specific point is Korea's ban on U.S. beef from cattle older than 30 months.
Older than 30 months. That level of detail is striking in international trade talks. Anything else?
Yeah, the U.S. also seems to be pushing back on restrictions related to LMOs, living modified organisms, so think genetically modified products, and also some processed meats like jerky, whatever the animal's age.
That sounds like it could be tricky ground to navigate with potential government changes or sensitivities.
Definitely. The history here recalls those big protests in Korea years ago about beef imports during the FTA talks.
Right.
And loosening rules on GMOs, well, that could stir up domestic opposition too, from farmers, consumer groups. The sources flag that as a potential issue.
Okay, so complex trade pressures bubbling up. Let's switch gears now, but stay on information that directly impacts you, the listener. These warnings about online financial scams.
Yes, this section felt really important. It's a heads up for anyone online, especially using platforms like Instagram or YouTube. There's a new type of scam emerging.
Disguised as investment classes or seminars.
Exactly. They lure people in, often posing as professors, offering free lessons. Sometimes they even promise small cash rewards or crypto just for attending.
So they build trust first. Over weeks, maybe.
That seems to be the tactic. They run these seemingly educational sessions, make you feel comfortable. Then comes the switch.
Okay, what happens then?
They start flashing fake credentials, maybe fake news articles saying they're registered with international regulators, all designed to look legitimate.
To get you to invest on their platform.
Right. Or they demand fees to access supposed profits you've already made. They pressure you for bigger investments. And once they get a significant amount of money, they disappear.
It's a nasty, sophisticated con. What are the key red flags? How can people spot this?
Well, the biggest takeaway, the clearest warning sign seems to be this. If someone online offering investment advice or free classes tells you to sign up for a crypto exchange using a specific Telegram link.
The Telegram link.
Yes. That step, pushing you towards Telegram for the sign up, is flagged as a major red flag. That's the point where you should be extremely cautious.
That's a really concrete warning sign. Good to know. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we've covered.
We looked at that sudden doubling of steel and aluminum tariffs and the potential link to legal challenges over emergency powers.
Right, then the ongoing trade friction with South Korea, focusing on those non-tariff barriers like beef age limits and LMOs.
And finally, the specifics of these online investment scams, the fake classes, the fake credentials, and that crucial red flag about Telegram signups.
It really shows how important understanding the details can be, doesn't it? Whether it's global trade rules or, how online scammers operate.
So maybe a final thought for you listening to consider. How do these big, sometimes hidden forces shaping global trade, like a court case influencing tariffs, or a rule about beef age connect, if at all, with the very visible but deceptive tactics of online scammers trying to get your money?
Yeah, how does being informed about the details...
Look for these patterns. Something to definitely keep mulling over.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.